So I have this really funny thing that I do, and there's this gentleman named Ahmed, who is my dear friend now, and he wants to do Skype lessons with me, but he lives in Dubai, where Skype is not allowed. So the only way to accomplish this is for me to just make videos just for him and send them to him. Now, when I made this video, which is a big, giant, hugely dense tour of all of the major keys, I thought it was a great topic for right after we discussed when would hamsters wield weapons with horses, right? But I really like the way I did this video because I was super loose just talking to my buddy Ahmed. So this will go best if you convince yourself that your name is Ahmed. The video will be a lot more enjoyable. And, you know, to be frank, I didn't want to remake a 30-minute video. So, like I said, super dense. If you enjoy the hamsters and weapons stuff, then this will be a great reinforcement. But for Pete's sake, I wouldn't watch this at work. You know, you might watch 6 minutes of it and decide your brain's full and come back some other time. But I thought it would be a good idea to have this sort of as a resource just up there for you to refer back to about the following things. So I hope you enjoy, Ahmed.
Ahmed, what is up? I was very delighted to meet the Blist. It is very exciting. I'm excited to tackle the Blist. But today, I'm going to introduce you to a little thing called the Circle of Fifths. Now, this is going to assume that you have watched my two Let's Learn Music Theory videos, right? The one with the musical alphabet, which I feel like you probably already at least were rather aware of, and the second one with how you concoct a major scale. So, from that, whole, half, right? Whole, half are the intervals for every single major scale. It's only a matter of where you start. So, we're going to do major scales in one video. We'll do minor scales in a different video, but then this might take 20 minutes. So I'm going to do the scales on the fretboard as a totally different but very related concept in another video. All right, so we'll start with C because that's where you always start because it's the easy one, right? C, I'm only going to write the when would hamsters wield weapons with horses just once. C, a whole step higher than C, is D because we skip over C sharp, right? There's no such thing as B sharp, and there's no such thing as E sharp, so be sure never to say B sharp or E sharp. Otherwise, there's a sharp everywhere. Whole step higher than D is E, because you skip over D sharp. Half step higher than E, I almost said H, is F, because there's no such thing as E sharp. Be sure never to say B sharp or E sharp. You get it, because B is spelled B-E. Okay, came up with that myself. Whole step higher than F is G, because you skip over F sharp. A whole step higher than G is A, because you skip over G sharp. A whole step higher than A is B, because you skip over A sharp. And a half step higher than B is C, and this is Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, in the key of C. The fifth note, because we're talking about the circle of fifths here, right? You're going to be smarter than all of your friends, at least. I feel like you might be already, except maybe your friends are also professors. So I don't know. But for music, you're going to be smarter than all your friends at the end of this video when you know the circle of fifths and what it is and what it's for. It's not really for anything, but what it is. Okay, so the fifth, right? We have the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one, the seventh one, and the eighth one is the first one because they're both C. So you never ever say the 8. That will make you not as smart as your friends. Don't say the 8. Say the 1. Anyways, the fifth of the key of C is G. Yeah, we're talking about notes now. I'm going to show you. I've already told you the rule for which ones are minor and which ones are major. I'll do it again at the end. Anyways, the fifth of C is G. So we're going to start on G now. Whole step higher than G is A. Whole step higher than A is B. Whole step, half step higher than B is C. Right? Whole step higher than C is D. Everything looks like the C scale, except we're starting on G now, right? Whole step higher than D is E, but here's where it changes, and this was in my major scale intervals video, so this might not be news to you. Whole step higher than E, because we're going to skip over F, because there's no such thing as E sharp, is F sharp. And a half step higher than F sharp is G, and this is the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 1 of the key of G. So, like, for instance, right? C is the 1 of C, but C is the 4 of G, and A is the 2 of G, whereas it's the 6 of C. So while it's the same note, depending on where you start, it has a different role, so to speak, in the key, right? Its role is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. A's role in C is la, and A's role in G is re, do, re, right? Okay, the 5th of G is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mind you, I don't have this all memorized, like the whole thing that we're going to do here. I probably have 65% of it memorized, but I know my whole half, and that's all you have to know. So you kind of memorize it on accident as time goes on. Don't make flashcards. It just sort of, what I like to do is every time I learn a song, and we'll start doing this more now, identify what key it's in, take a guess, then check and see if I'm wrong and why I'm wrong, and you learn a lot when you do that. The 5th of G is D, so we're going to start at D. Whole step higher than D is E. We already know that because it's all over the place here. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Whole step higher than E is F sharp. All right, getting exciting. Half step higher than F sharp is G, because there's nothing to skip. There's no skip, and there's nothing to skip. Whole step higher than G is A. Whole step higher than A is B. Whole step higher than B, because there's no such thing as B sharp or E sharp, is C sharp, for the same reason that a whole step higher than E is F sharp. This is one of these little traps where you get lost and go wrong. And a half step higher than C sharp is D. And here is our D major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. A is the 6th of C, the 2nd of G, and the 5th of D. So they all play many roles depending on where you start. Anyways, continuing along that theme, A is the 5th of D, so that's where we're going next. Whole step higher than A, B. Whole step higher than B. Yep. C sharp, we've already experienced this situation right here, right? Half step higher than C sharp is D, followed by whole step E. I need to write my, it's too far away. Whole, half, whole, half. Whole step higher than E is F sharp. So here, there, that's the situation again. Whole step higher than F sharp is G sharp, because we skip over G now, right? And a half step higher than G sharp is A, and this is why, if you were to Google right now, do it, Google it, the key of A, A's key signature is what you will come across. There will be a treble clef, which I can't draw. I'm going to have to find an eraser if I draw some. I have a sleeve treble clef, which looks, you know, something like... I can't draw a big weird S, right? And there will be some sharps. If you look up A, it'll have 3 sharps on it. If you look up D, it'll have 2 sharps on it. If you look up G, it'll have 1 sharp on it. And this is why. Because if you start at a note, doesn't matter what note, and you follow your when would hamsters wield weapons with horses, you end up with some amount of sharps just because of the way you're, you know, moving the Monopoly piece, so to speak, across all the possible notes. So, I'll bet you can wager a guess as to how many sharps the key of whatever we're doing next is E, because E is the 5th of A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th of A is E. I'll give you a clue. You already know, it's 4. E has 4 sharps because it just continues right along, getting more sharpy. Whole step higher than E is F sharp. Whole step higher than F sharp is G sharp. Half step higher than G sharp is A. We can still see good. Whole step higher than A is B. Whole step higher than B is C sharp. Whole step higher than C sharp is D sharp. And a half step higher than D sharp is E. So there you go. Key of E, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You've seen this one before because I think I sent it to you. Has 1, 2, 3, 4 sharps in it, and the 5th of E is B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to start on B this time, and guess how many sharps B has? It just gets progressively more annoying. B, whole step C sharp. Whole step D sharp. Half step E. I need my W's and my H's again. Whole. Half, because B's not one of the ones I have memorized. everything so far I'm good with, but you get down the annoying way, and they get a little more, they slip out of your brain easier. Whole step higher than E is F sharp. Whole step higher than F sharp is G sharp. Whole step higher than G sharp it's A sharp. Look at that. And a half step higher than A sharp is B. So we did it right. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharps in it. And B's fifth is F sharp. So here we go. Notice how I'm sure you're catching on right now, but I just want to say, just to be sure, that we're taking the fifth of everything we do, and that's where we start. F sharp, whole step, oh boy. G sharp, definitely might need my W's and my H's here. Make a little piece of paper and copy it that just says WWH, WWWH, and your friends will think you're watching minor league, betting on minor league wrestling, but I swear that's the first time I've ever said that. But it'll be handy for you. Whole, half, whole, half. Okay. Whole step higher than G sharp, A sharp, because we skip over A. Half step higher than A sharp is B. Whole step higher than B is C sharp, because there's no such thing as B sharp. Of course, have we seen this one before? Yes, we have, in the key of E. Okay. Whole step higher than C sharp is D sharp. This is where things get interesting. I love this. This is one of my favorite things. This is one of the things that makes me just know that when whoever was coming up with, like, you know, they made the C scale, and then it's sort of logical. It keeps going, right? And everything follows the right rules. But I feel like they got here. And have you ever heard that funny comedian guy who he plays the guitar and he sort of talks? He just plays the guitar as a backdrop for his talking, and he says, I think they named oranges before carrots. This is orange. It's an orange. And then they looked at the carrot and said, oh shit. Like, this is one of these, they named the orange first things. A whole step higher than D sharp is, well, it's F. It's F, right? But we're not allowed to call it F because we can't say F sharp and F in the same key. So a whole step higher than D sharp, and this is the only time you're allowed to say this, is E sharp. E sharp equals F in the key of F sharp, because when you're doing regular music, right? 3, 4, 5 lines, and the way you read music, and I'm going to do a video, the next music theory video I'm doing is going to be how to read music and why you don't need to. But how you read music is the lines. If you see a dot on a line, it's every good boy deserves fudge. And if you see like a musical note would be there, and that means you play an E, and it'd be here, and that means you play a G, right? And if it's in the spaces, it's face, F-A-C-E. That's how you remember these things. And the thing is, you notice there's no F sharp. It's because when you have a key signature, like let's say it's the key of a G, right? So you'd have one sharp sign here in your key signature next to your thing that I can't draw. And that would mean that every single F in this song is sharp unless otherwise stated. Every single F in this song, given that it's in the key of G, is F, because there is no F natural in the key of G. It's sharp. So that means that this space here, where F resides, is designated for F sharp and not F. And that's why you can't call a whole step higher than D sharp F in the key of F sharp, because the F line or the F spot is already taken up by F sharp. F doesn't exist, therefore it has to be E sharp. So there you go. And it has to, I love that. I love that. It just shows me that it just sort of evolved and nobody really thought it through both ways. It just kind of occurred as people were doing it. Half step higher than E sharp is F sharp. So, yeah, that's a really confusing little spot. Okay, we are now to the point. Okay, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C sharp is where we will continue in just a moment. It's been a moment. Continuing at C sharp. So whole step from C sharp is D sharp. Whole step from D sharp is, it's F, right? For real. It's back to F now. Half step from F is
Well, here's the problem now again, right? Okay, F sharp. So let's call F E sharp again. Okay, whole step higher than F sharp is G sharp. Whole step higher than G sharp is A sharp. Whole step higher than A sharp is, well, okay, so B, and then A sharp, B, it's C, yeah, right? And then a half step higher than, of course, and here's the problem again, right? We've got a C. By the way, I wasn't like trying to like talk like I'm talking to kindergartners when I was doing that. I was legitimately thinking there, just for the record, is just to make sure I'm saying the right thing here. Is C sharp. So here's the problem again, right? But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would make, if this were B sharp, that would make 7 sharps in the key, and that is far too difficult to think about. So you never call C B sharp. We're going to switch to, instead of C sharp, we're going to switch to its other name, D flat. So rather than make you watch me erase this, C sharp now equals D flat. They're the same note. This is why sometimes it's correct to call it whatever sharp, and sometimes it's correct to call it whatever flat. This is why. So D flat. This is harder to think about. This is going to go a little slow. We just don't think about flats as readily as we think about sharps. Why? I have no idea. Like guitar players just don't. On the trumpet, I can talk flats with a tutu on, but with on the guitar, because I don't know why. Okay, whole step higher than D flat is E flat. Whole step higher than E flat is E flat. E is F, because we went from E flat, which is the note below E, to E, and then I said F and wrote E, to E. E flat, which is the note below E, right? Here's the continuum of notes here. E flat, E, F, we were here, and we went a whole step, which is 2 jumps. So a whole step higher than E flat is F. A half step higher than F is G flat. That's why this works. There's no everybody's got their own line, right? A whole step higher than G flat is A flat. A whole step higher than A flat is B flat. A whole step higher than B flat is C, and a half step higher than C, for the same reason as this E flat to F, right? B flat to C, and a half step higher than C is D flat. No conflicts. Everybody's got a line, and we didn't even have to call it B sharp, right? And now, so you'll notice we ended up with 6 sharps in the sharpiest key of the sharps. It sounds like I'm reciting a Dr. Seuss book to you right now. And that's a cat. That was still a cat. That was 2 cats. Okay, and the flats start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flats. So the max amount of, that doesn't count. Wait, were there 6? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6 in the sharpiest of sharps, and then 5 in the flattiest of flats, because we went sharper, and now we're starting at the flattest, and we're going to get less flat as time goes on here as we continue along our circle of fifths. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And that's because the only reason that one had the extra one was because of the weird E situation. So it kind of came to a point of odd, and now it's getting less odd because nobody thought about what they were doing when they decided how these things went. Okay, so the 5th of D flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is A flat. Here we go. A flat, whole step, B flat, whole step. Okay, B flat, B, C. Yep, we've experienced that already. I need my W's and my H's. Whole, half. Half step higher than C is D flat. Whole step higher than D flat is E flat. Whole step higher than E flat is F. Yes, getting better at practicing my flats, as you can see. Whole step higher than F is G. And a half step higher than G is A flat, so we know we did it right. And we have 1 flat, 2 flat, 3, 4 flats in the key of A flat, because the second A flat doesn't count, of course. It's already been accounted for. A flat's 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. E flat.
there's little shortcuts. Like as you get to know the key of A, you'll know that you'll know pretty soon just without thinking about it, or among the first keys that you know whenever it happens, that A's fifth is E. I'm going to give you a handy dandy trick for that anyways too. So then you can kind of just say to yourself, especially as a math person, right? Well, if I know A's fifth is E, then certainly A flat's fifth is E flat. It's like a proportion, right? Anyways, where were we? E started E flat, so now we should, if we're doing this right, have 3 flats in E flat. Whole, half, whole, half. E flat, F, getting good at that one. G, okay, that was easy. Half step higher than G is A flat, G sharp or A flat, yeah. Whole step higher than A is B flat, whole step higher than B flat is C, whole step higher than C is D, and a half step higher than D is E flat, aka D sharp. But we can't say that because they'll need their space in the regular thing that the flautists use. And there we go. 1, 2, 3 flats in E flat. Getting easier. Well, E's fifth is B, so E flat's fifth is B flat, and there it is. B flat, whole, half, whole, half. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. 1, 2. 2 flats and B flat. There it is, B flat. I need to check my work here. B, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. That makes total sense. So there should be 1 flat in the next one, which is F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, F. You see, I don't have it all just totally on the tip of my head memorized. Once we start to get to these things, these weird ones. But yeah, so F, let's do F. Whole, half, whole, half. G, all right, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Everybody has their own space. Nobody's infringing on anyone else's territory. And what is the fifth of the key of F? This is where you need to be sitting down. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's C. We went in a circle. That's why it's called the circle of fifths, because if you follow it, you take everybody's fifth, you could start anywhere. You could start here and go through C, and you'd end up back here. It's a circle of fifths. It's a tour of all of the keys. That's what it's for. So, yeah, we've talked about this. We'll go back to C. We'll finish it out. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So what I would encourage you to do is whenever you're looking up a song or, learning a song, looking up tab, whatever, take a guess of what key it's in. Do your thing. Do your guess. Let's say you guessed it was in the key of F, right? Figure out the key of F, and remember for chords, the pattern is the whole half thing, and then the first one's major, second one's minor. This applies to every single key we just did. Second one's minor, third one's minor, 4 and 5 are major, 6 is minor. You're not going to run into the 7th one, it's diminished, and that's it. So you do your key of F, and then you turn it into F, G minor, A minor, B flat, C major, D minor, not going to run into E diminished so often. And then if your song has F and G minor and C and D minor, then you know for sure that you're right. Because if it's got 4 right, then it's definitely that. It can have 3 right, and this isn't I don't know the actual numbers here. This is just my gut feeling right now. I would have to do some thinking about what I'm about to say, but it's something like if you've got 4 that are correct, it's definitely that key. But you might have one where you've got 3 correct, and then it could possibly be something else. So it might not be in the key of F, for instance, but It might be more correctly, for other reasons, be in a different key. But anyways, if you're like, yeah, this is an F, and you got an F and a C, you're like, okay, this is in F. But then you get a G major. It's not in the key of F. It's in the key of C, right? Because G is major in the key of C, and so is C, and so is F. So things like that, and you wanna try to figure out what key songs are in if that interests you. Because you learn a lot by doing that. You practice your keys, you just see them more and become more familiar with them, right? And it's also fun, if you ask me. And you'll see that 55% of the time, whatever chord a song starts in, that's the key. So that's a great place to start. Except sometimes you'll come up with the thing that I just showed you, right? Which is it starts on F, and it's all great until you get a G major. And then you know it's not an F, and then you have to take another guess, or have screenshot all this, or copy this down, or whatever, and have it all there to look at. But I like the don't do that. Just remember the whole half, and the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, because then it forces you to write it out each time, and that's a better way to get familiar. And eventually, you won't even have to write it out unless you're confronted with E flat or something, and then that's tricky. And that is the circle of fifths. That is every natural key. That is every key in music there. It gets mind-numbingly more complicated from there, but for the purposes of what I'm kneeling now. I was kneeling, now I'm squatting like a catcher. For the purposes of everything we're going to talk about, that's going to cover 97% of what we're ever going to need to know. And when the interesting things come up, if you have a firm grasp on this, then the interesting things, not that that's not interesting, then the weird things are going to make a whole heck of a lot more sense, a whole heck of a lot quicker. So just, like I said, when you're learning a song, try to figure out what key it's in. I will mention it more now if it's sort of pertinent to the topic, you know. Sometimes it doesn't much matter, but sometimes it really helps to understand what key it's in. And over time, you know, not overnight, but over time, you'll just kind of know stuff. As you see, I've been doing this for a long time, and I still struggle on A flat. It's because the nature of the music I do, much like the music you do, doesn't require that I have that on the tip of my brain, but I do in a way that, you know, I've got C down way. I know all those relationships. So if you think of it as just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then I certainly know the key of A flat because every single one's the same. And that's all I have to say about that. I hope you enjoyed that. And next time, I don't know if I might do a Blist song next, and then, or a couple, and then we'll do the scales thing. That was a lot. I'll just, if it's okay with you, I'll do whatever I'm in the mood for. I might do the scales next. I haven't decided yet, is the point. So have a wonderful day, Ahmed. Thank you again, and good luck. Raise your hand if you made it through that in one fell swoop. At any rate, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time with more stuff. Don't worry, next week's Let's Learn Music Theory thing will be much more compact, and probably every single one after this. Okay, have a good one. Goodbye.